Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. So today I thought I would do a little comparison on Bitcoin versus real estate. A lot of people very enthusiastic about Bitcoin. I've had several friends here that have lost their ass in it now over the last several years. Some up, then they get excited, then they jump back in, then they're depressed. You can almost tell when you see them whether they're having a good week or a bad week. And it's that volatility that is so destructive on people that are involved with Bitcoin, and especially for somebody that doesn't have that extra money, doesn't have that kind of money to set aside. But I thought we'd just take a look at the last 6 months on Bitcoin, and I could do a little comparison with some of my own portfolio here, just to give you all an example. But be interested to hear from you guys. Chris, glad you're in here. Any of y'all that you could talk about your experiences. Listen, I've actually had an abundance of emails here in the last, I don't know, probably 6 weeks, where people are like, I'm ready to invest in real estate. And I get it. So look, I've been able to average roughly about 24% on cash, sometimes much better than that on my cash. And I don't think anybody else can say that on their Bitcoin. They certainly can't say if they bought in the last 6 months. But there's some diehards out there. But I think really a lot of it is people just, you go into denial mode. People jump into these kinds of volatile stocks, hoping to get rich quick. And then when it doesn't go their way, they just keep defending it, and they're kind of in denial. And a good example would be the Dogecoin millionaire became a millionaire, and then he kept saying he's hanging on till 10 million, and he hung on till his $1.5 million or whatever it was worth about 165,000, and now he makes money being optimistic about every other crap coin there is. But anyways, so let's see, what do we got here? Well, anyhow, we'll get back to it in 1 minute, and be sure to share your stories. Let's talk about it.
It's the best thing I ever did.
All right. So how about you, Barry? What do you got? Bitcoin and Biden have much in common. I got to think about that one for a minute. I actually think Bitcoin's probably a better deal. Okay, Chris wrote, I made $90K this year alone. Oh, using Tom's strategy, thanks. I'm not even actually trying to plug the mentorship. I do. Oh, by the way, the mentorship, because of the holiday, I didn't realize my webmaster was going to be off for a day or two. So you can still get in the mentorship that I closed technically today. You can get in it until I think Wednesday. Then that offer is gone. So those of you that you got a little bit more time if you want in. I don't care if you get in or not. It makes no difference to me. Anyways, but look, let's talk about this. Take a look at this chart behind me. So you can see in the last 6 months, it was at roughly a high of about 60-something thousand. And now here we are sitting over here. Down here, it even went less. It looks like it went down to, what did it go down to? Went down to $28,000. And what was the high here, to be fair? 59,000, 56, 58. So it looks like it went from, I don't know. It went from 57, then it dropped some, then it went back up to 59. And then anyhow. So, and here's the other thing that's so silly is if you look at these YouTubers, these guys that have, barely gotten out of high school, to be quite honest, and all of a sudden they're the biggest promoters of this. I know they're the pros and they know what they're doing. Buy the dip, right? Always had buy the dip. And so every time you see Bitcoin drop, there's some idiot gets on there and says, buy the dip. This is the time to buy. And then people buy and they get excited, and then they go down and they lose their ass. And then it happens. And take a look at the chart here. The whole trend is downward trending. But there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. I'm not even counting all the multiple little dips in between. But it looks like there's 15 opportunities to have bought the dip and rode this thing down to a grave of where it's at today. Now, the problem that I have about this stuff is in this, let me just give you an example. In this 6 months, like Chris just noted, Chris is in my mentorship, by the way, Chris has made 90 grand. And Chris, how much money did you use to make 90 grand, by the way? Yeah, Matt, I agree. So Matt Bittner mentions Charlie Munger, who says cryptos are like a venereal disease or venereal disease. Anyways, well, he also refers to as trading turds, and I totally agree. But this is the thing, and a lot of what's made things gone crazy in the last 2 years is you got a bunch of money that was handed out to kids in the form of stimulus. People were given money just simply because they made less than 60 grand a year. And it's like everybody gets a trophy. And it's silly. The money only should have gone to people that were out of work. You know, we have a pandemic. We have a situation where people need money. People are actually lost their job. And they go, well, since we're giving money to people that lost their job, let's go ahead and give money to people that have a job too. And, you know, all this stuff, it's caused a lot of the inflation issues. We got all kinds of problems. But that's what happens when you get, you know, when the government tries to step into business and help. It always makes a mess of things. Okay, so Chris used 108K to make 90. So he made 90% on his money in 1 year. And let's see, what Barry say? Bitcoin seems to be trading in a range between 30 and 60K. However, since the Federal Reserve is seemingly against Bitcoin, it never makes sense to bet against the Fed. Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the currency itself. I'm not saying there's not a future there somewhere, but the problem with it right now is it's not recognized. It's not easily exchanged. It's not easily cashed in. It's not easily traded and accepted. Not everybody says, I'll take Bitcoin for payment. Who wants to get paid by $1 that can magically change into 50 cents overnight? It's just not solid currency. Yeah, congrats on Chris for sure. Yeah, but just in my own portfolio, I've never seen any stock being able to keep up with what I make in real estate. And you know, even if you're somebody that, I mean, make 6, 8, 10 to 15% on your money, if you leverage it some when you borrow from a bank and you make the delta in between, you can push 10 to 25%. The last building I bought, I made 25% on my cash, roughly. Basically I got 9.25% return on a $1.6 million purchase. And when I borrow 3/4 of that money at the rate at the time, I think it was 3.5 or 4%. It's up a little bit higher now. But in the end result is I'm making $99,000 a year on 400 grand. And which turns out to be about a 25% return on cash. It's a wonderful thing, and I don't know of any vehicle like it. In fact, if you put 400 grand in, let's just go to facts here. Let me just show you something. Let's go to Google Earth. Actually, here's another building I bought too. I bought this one probably. It's been almost a year since I bought this building, and here's the other reason why. The things that you can't do. Like when you cash in your cryptocurrency, or when you cash in, you got to pay tax on your gains. Well, even if you did make some money, you got to pay tax on those gains. And the deal is with real estate, there's vehicles that allow you to defer, to buy and defer into greater assets and keep buying. And in other words, you're going to pay your taxes eventually, but you can defer. And you can grow your portfolio, and you don't get you don't get penalized like you do with the stocks. Anyways, what did Chris say? As hard as I do for my money, or work as smart as I should say. That's not to mention the other big deal I'm about to close, looking for my next deal. Yep. That's great, Chris. Glad to hear it. But like this little building here, I bought this when I bought this for $2.8 million. It was worth $3.5 million. So I made $700,000 the day that I bought this property. And I have multiple houses that are very similar. That I pay $300,000 and they're worth $400 or $420 or $450. The day that I buy it, you don't have the ability to buy crypto under market. Now you can jump in and say, you can speculate, but I'm not even speculating. In other words, I'm buying for a property for a price that's less than the market, and where you guys are buying at market, and it's a nightmare. So let's take a look. And even the same with the other houses too. So anybody in here dabble in the crypto, or you just don't want to talk about it? Because I know I have some folks that were that are in the class even too that were talking about it. We felt very strongly about it. But like I said, even on houses, jump to a neighborhood and see what I can show you here. Yeah. So look here. I'll take you into a neighborhood of homes. Okay, so look, I've bought probably 12 homes, or maybe 15 homes, within this area that you see here. But just to give you an idea, I bought this home that my arrow's sitting on right here. I paid I think I paid $169 for that, and I sold it for $390. The one across the street, I paid $129,000 for it, and I sold it for $625,000. Now, this was over a period of time. This was over some years. But even the day that I bought those properties, they were worth $50,000, $60,000 more than I paid for them. And now, if you want to look at housing just in general and values, so take a look behind me here. This is over a period of about 11 years. You can see it's kind of slow and steady growth, okay? And then, of course, this isn't, we were already really on a really nice trend, values going up that you can see here. Now, this is the pandemic, and this caused the shortage, and this is one of the reasons why everything's expensive. So I'm not going to take credit or attribute this to just normal growth on real estate values, this big jump here, because a lot of that was, caused by the pandemic and the poor way which the government handled it. And that's kind of why, look, groceries and everything else have followed this chart. It's terrible. But the bottom line is this is real estate. On average, not everywhere, in every geographical area is different. You can be in an area where things level off and decline, and other parts of the USA are going up in value. And I've experienced that many times over the last 40 years. And it's also kind of a wonderful thing when you're invested in an area that grows quite quickly and is making a lot of money, and then you can go into an area that maybe you feel strongly is coming back. If you feel strongly that it will, if you have some good hard evidence to believe that, so then that's always great. But then again, and if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin was like pennies, and then it shot up drastically. And then it just kind of maintained ever since that drastic jump, and then it's kind of just wavered up and down ever since it went from kind of zero to whatever that high was. I think when Bitcoin, I think, developed in 2015 or something like that. How long has it been? Maybe a little further back. But anyways, so let's look at a couple examples, because this is really where I want to go with y'all. Is there's, especially you guys that don't have any money, you guys that are starting, that you have, maybe 5, 10, 100 grand, whatever, 200 grand. And I don't mean to say that's nothing. That is, if you save that money, that's really commendable. It's hard work to save that kind of money from a job. But let me tell you, the people that are in my mentorship, I'm going to use them because look, I'm a pretty good investor, right? I've been doing it a long time. But even people that haven't been around a long time, that have been investing, are still making a ton of money in a relatively short time. Let me see if I can get you in here to show you something. And I urge you to go in here, because right here you'll see right down the road, these are all people just like me and you, people that some of them didn't own any real estate at all in the last 5 years. And in the 2.5 years that they've been inside my mentorship, have their eyes open. Just like Chris in here, we got Liam, I got 2 or 3 times as many as testimonies. These are just some of the ones that I've had time to take. But you got Steve, he's a millionaire from real estate now. Ron is a multimillionaire from real estate right now. Ken, he's just went over the $1 million mark in what he's made in the last 6 months to a year. And Eric, young man, over $1 million now. Tina, on her way. She's on her way. Not quite there yet, but she's on her way. And this is the kind of stuff that when you buy a tangible asset, right, something that has value, something that is there, something that you can see and touch and hold, okay, and as opposed to something that is just simply non-tangible, right, and hard to spend and hard to trade and hard to maintain a price. You know, like I say, we'll go back to the charts here. That's how stable real estate is, you know. And I'm not saying it can't go down. In fact, look right here in the beginning. There is a little dip here. What's that fluctuation? This fluctuation is, if we're just using this for an example, this is like the median value homes based on what they sold for. Again, this is kind of over the whole USA. 321,000, and then it dipped to 313. So that's a 3% fluctuation. 3%, you know, not 50%. Okay, and then what it did, it came back, and it just slowly came back, slow and steady, just like a turtle, right? Came back. You know, this is over a period of 10 years. So you don't have that. I mean, and now take a look at the stability of Bitcoin. Does that look like stability? I don't care if you bought here. If you bought here, great. You only lost 20 grand, you know, or you only lost 10 grand if you bought, you know, here, this little low right here. So this is not a game for, it's a game for the wealthy that have money they can throw to the side and forget about it and not care and not be affected. It's really not a game for people that are actually, you know, trying to have some stability. I mean, if you want stability like this, there it is. You know, go look at the Dogecoin millionaire. You know, he's somebody that jumped in and pissed away $1 million faster. I mean, he didn't really earn it because he made it like that, but he had an option to get out and do something with it. In fact, it's a shame because he had enough money that if he'd invested it like I do, he could have had $400,000 a year coming in on his $1.6 million cash. Now, he'd pay taxes on that, but either way, he probably could have been at $300,000 a year. And he would not be crying the blues and trying to, you know, talk people into, you know, invest with this. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. Let's take a look at here, the people that talk about buy the dip, okay? All these people, buy now. Oh, this guy, it's saying it's a great idea, buy now, 2 weeks ago. Anybody believe that? Anybody want to buy now? This is a history of this is how the stability of this thing. And believe me, this thing was at one time down here, like down here. Is this what you want to buy? You want something that volatile? But the folks that promote it, again, I don't think they're buying it. You know, the people, let's see over here. What else we got here? Oh yeah, well right now it's everybody's talking about the crash. You know, it's easy to talk about things, but what's sad is some people actually believe what they hear. Now look here, here's Graham Stephan. Now Graham Stephan, how to invest in cryptocurrency, right there. Does anybody think he knows? I know he doesn't know. But all of these things have in common is they're just basically schlepping stuff for a trade. Like, in other words, the cheapest way to buy crypto. Well, you're still going to pay full price for it, but you might pay $7 per trade as opposed to $10 per trade. Again, it's just so foolish. Anyways, I just had to throw that out there. I have just had a number of people that have lost their ass in the cryptocurrencies, and it's just painful to watch, you know. Anyways, let's go back to the chat here. Anybody got anything? Any questions? Anything they want to talk about? Okay. So Chris Parker wrote me, what is my longest held property? Boy, that's a good question. Let me think. I have an industrial building that I bought for $1 million. No, it's probably my home, to be honest. I have a home I bought. It's also done very well. I'd say probably the home that I bought 30 years ago. It's probably the longest thing I've held. And then second to that, I've got an industrial building that I've probably held for 25 years. I've got another place that I actually built in 2000. That's a pretty big office building. That thing brings in about $300,000 a year, and that was a great investment. I probably spent $800,000 total on that. But yeah, so I would say the longest held is probably my home, number one, 30 years, and then after that, I've got a number of buildings I've had for anywhere from 25 to, I've stuff that I bought. I bought an industrial building 6 months ago, which actually we want to talk about that, since actually that's relative to what we're talking about right here. So look here, I'll show you a building I bought 6 months ago. Okay, now again, this is something that so this is another one. Okay, so doesn't look like much, right? Just an industrial building. That's it. People working inside there, making the stuff. This is one I bought about 6 months ago, and I paid $1.6 million for this. And actually, this is I was referring to this one earlier in a way, because 6 months ago I bought this, and this gives me basically a 24% return on cash when I leveraged 75% of it. But it was a 9.25% return on cash if I paid 100% cash for it. This one I may hold a long time, but this one right now, because of the way the cap rates are and the way people are buying, I can sell this for $2.4 million. I can sell it for $800,000 more than I paid for it. So I would say I probably spent about roughly $12 million in the last year. And on that $12 million, I've made, not counting just the income from it, because I get income on all that stuff too, but I don't know, just roughly I probably made $4 million in equity that I haven't realized yet. But I still am averaging 24% return on my cash. It's very difficult to want to part with it at the moment. Now, I will someday. Now, also, by the way, aside from this building, I also bought this is another 5 acres of prime commercial property that I have other plans for. Now, this doesn't make any money. This one cost me money, but it's the income from this building makes the payment on this, so no big deal. George, building is never a great idea, and I'll tell you why. Just look at what inflation has done. I mean, a 2x4 is about, a 2x4 was $2 not that long ago. Now it's about $7-8. So right now, your building costs are so expensive that you should really get my book. Get my book if you don't have my book. If you can afford it, guys, get in my mentorship. In fact, I'll give you take a look at this real quick. And this, I think, is worth watching for a second. Take a look at this and we'll be right back.
Yo, stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.
All right, there's a little jingle to wake you up this morning. But everything you just saw in there, you saw properties that I bought, but you also saw a lot of the people that are in my mentorship. And if you don't know about my mentorship, this is my mentorship. These are also mentees that have been in there, are still in there, by the way. And basically you can see it's like a Zoom type meeting, and we, on top of what I call the crash course that kind of gets you up to speed quickly, you get the benefit. The main thing is the difference is you get access to me. So many of these courses and things that are sold are the people that are selling them didn't even author them. They don't have the experience. They're just simply regurgitating materials that have been around for 40 years. And the difference is being able to have access to someone like myself that's been there and done that so many times. It's just if you don't have that kind of critical support, then it's just you can still do it. Because believe me, I had to learn everything the hard way. But when you have somebody that can take you through and walk you through it, or you get a question, you get unsure, and believe me, one of the most important things in being in the mentorship is that when you get to talk to somebody like me and you suspect that you're right about something, but I go ahead and confirm it. Yeah, do it. Go get it signed right now. And then all of a sudden it puts fire, and you go get it done. You get it signed. Next thing you know, you're turning it, and you're making a lot of money. Or likewise, you say, hey, you know what? I want to buy this, but I don't feel. And let me just tell you something. Chances are, if you're going to go buy something, and you don't feel good about it, if you're smart, it probably isn't a good deal. Now, if you're going in there blindly, and that's the other worst thing, is sometimes you can have like a gold mine sitting in front of you, but you're not bright enough to know about what you have. And that's another nice thing. You say, hey, I got an opportunity to buy this, but I'm really not sure. What do you think? And you send that by me, and I put my eyes on it, and I've been doing this a long time. It doesn't take me long to say, that's a great deal. Get that thing right now. And it's that reaffirmation that you're doing the right thing and or that you're doing the wrong thing. It can mean millions of dollars to you. And I know firsthand because I've already got several millionaires in my class in a very short time. Okay, Peter Edelstein, maybe you are a faker. Sounds too good to be true. I don't know why you think that's too good to be true. It's actually pretty reasonable. I mean, what I'm talking about is not impossible. I'm talking about buying property under market, and really that's a discipline. Even Warren Buffett would tell you, don't swing at a loser. Most people swing at losers, and that's why you hear about all the, the people that are losing their ass. That's why you see, just for every bankruptcy you see out there, bankruptcy, just about every time you see a bankruptcy, basically you see somebody that made a purchase that didn't know what the hell they were doing. What you don't see, except maybe with me sharing you, is the winners. And, so Pete, I don't know how much you invest in knowledge. I really don't. Because a lot of people, believe me, I had a grandfather. He was a complete naysayer. Don't do this and all this and nothing works and that and that. And believe me, fortunately, me and him were particularly close, but God, I can't imagine having a damn naysayer, near me all the time. Hey, that's a bad idea. Everything's a bad idea. And that's fine. I think it's okay to discern things and use your head. Totally understand that. But if you are not bright enough that you can't discern shit from shinola, as they used to say, shinola being black car polish that looks like shit, not car polish but shoe polish, then of course, I mean, you're not, listen, some people have no common sense, and also people are quite lazy. That's also one of the reasons people get duped and buy this Bitcoin and other, get rich quick opportunities, is they don't want to work for it. They want to think, they want to gamble. They just want to throw something on the roulette wheel and get very rich. And, yes, sounds fun, sounds great. And if somebody encourages it, that can happen, that's what you do, and that's why people that are lazy and, I don't want to say greedy, but hopeful, lazy and hopeful. Boy, what an easy mark to rip off. I tell you, my stuff, you have to have a passion for it. And believe me, I tell people, if I don't like you, I don't care about your money. I don't want to waste my time teaching anybody. You're an embarrassment to me if you act like a fool after you've been through my class or you don't learn. And believe me, even when people come to get in my mentorship, a lot of times when I look for first thing, it says, "Did you read my book?" If they haven't read my book, that's already a flag right there that, you know what, I might not want you. I may not want you. I'm already concerned that you haven't already bought my book. And because that's $10. And I think my book, you can take it back if you don't like it. Here's my book, by the way, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. This has been a big seller on Amazon and Audible and Kindle. And if you can't spend $10 on an Audible book, I mean, that's like buying a drink. How many times have you bought a beer or a drink and been disappointed, right? Okay. This I think you can take back. I mean, Amazon's got a pretty liberal return policy, but you weren't gonna send it back because that book's worth that book it can be worth $1 million or more to you if you do something. If you sit on your ass, if you let it collect dust. There's some people that are out there that are like professional students, and that's okay. At least you're learning. But at some point, there's people that are just, chronic procrastinators. And, you have to, get the knowledge. You have to take a little time, build your brain. And then, the easiest way I can put it is most of us have a car, right? Well, when you bought your car, I don't think you bought the first thing you walked up and looked at. I think you shopped a little bit to get a good deal. Well, and you probably bought a used car. Your first car, you probably bought a used car. So you look around. You don't want to pay too much. Well, guess what? That's real estate. You look around. You make sure that you're not paying too much. And then, if you've looked for a used car, if you look long enough, and then all of a sudden you find out, oh, man, this little old lady, she's selling her car, and she's only put 30,000 miles on it in 10 years, you realize, wow, that's a great deal. Because maybe she's selling it for the same price as everybody else, but it's got, 1/3 of the miles. Okay, it's that kind of discerning that you know what I mean, that you make your decisions. It's that. You're putting a little bit of time to understand what a car's worth, how worn out is it, what kind of problems is it going to have, if it's got 30 as opposed to 90,000 miles. And then, of course, you can kind of look at the general reputation of a car, if it holds up. Toyotas hold up quite well. Others do not. And, but it takes a little time. But once you're done, once you do your analysis of the car that you decide you want to buy, maybe for safety reasons, well, in a house, you might be looking at safety reasons too, right? Is it a good neighborhood? Is there a lot of crime? Okay? There really is a lot of analogies in buying real estate along with buying cars. For many of the just common sense reasons, safety, price, longevity. Is it a car you want to drive for a long time? Is it a house you want to live in for a long time? It's really a lot of common sense. But guess what? The good news is, for guys like me and my students and investors in general, is that most people aren't very bright. They're too lazy. Some of them are too lazy to even figure out what something's worth when they sell it. Believe me, I've made a pile of money on squandered inheritance. People inherit, and they go, oh, you know what? Yeah, that sounds good. I'll sell it to you for X. And X might be, 10X less than it's worth. So, God, sure. What is, no, and I don't know. Yeah, anyways, Pete, listen, you should be skeptical. But you know what I mean? You should do a little work. because, listen, I call out fakes all the time. I do. You can watch some of my videos. I call out bullshit when I see it. But I actually take time to discern and look at people and what they promote and what they say. That's what I'm doing right now, right, with Bitcoin. So George says, Peter, been following Tom for some time now. First started during COVID. His video grant. Him, one of a kind, and as wealthy as he. Yeah. Thanks, George. I appreciate that. Anyways, the bottom line is, somebody asked me the other day, why are you even teaching? Look, I have more than I had ever planned on having when I was younger, and it continues to grow because that's just kind of how real estate goes. It generally keeps going up in value. Rents keep going up. I tell people all the time, the two things that don't sleep are rent and interest. Every minute that goes by, you owe more money. If you have a loan and you have interest, every minute that goes by, there's money due. There's more money due. And same with your rent. Every day that goes by, right? We all know about paying rent at the end of the month. So anyways, I still do the 10 a.m. meetings, Paul, for the members. And we may do a Zoom meeting here before long and get some of the members in here that can talk about their profits. I'm actually going to be giving some rewards, certificates of accomplishment to many of my students. I'm actually working on the certificates right now. Looking forward to giving those out because we have some people that I call them the diehards. Some people haven't made a deal yet. Others have made multiple deals and multiple hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars now. And I don't know anybody that has a track record like that, to be quite honest. In fact, if anybody out there, if you know, if you know of somebody else that teaches that has as many testimonials as I do, I'd love to hear about them because the ones that are the biggest that I see talking the most have the least. So anyways, so be sure to check out the book if you get a chance, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. But listen, I have a free webinar. Go to the link below and you'll see, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. I'll put it, I'll paste it too. And also, please, it helps the channel a lot. If you hit that thumbs up, if you give me a subscribe and a like, it means a lot to me. And it helps the channel, and I think you guys can see I'm not out here for a money grab. I do try to share, and those that are of like-minded and are interested, please just dig a little deeper. I don't care if you buy what I sell or not. I really don't care, but I would hate for you to make a mistake and be, your seed capital is so important. And believe me, there's heartless people. They don't care if it's your last $1,000. I had a guy write me the other day. He put I think it was a Chris Crone class. He put $1,000 down, and then he borrowed $2,000 from one parent, and then $2,000 from his in-laws. Spent $5,000, and he feels like he got a bag of shit. And he went back to take it back, and they said, "No, sorry, can't do that." And it's just sad because that he didn't do his due diligence, right? He didn't know what he was getting. He didn't know what he was getting into, and when he got what he got, he was disappointed. And return policy is a return policy, but I'm just saying, buyer beware. I mean, a fool and his money are soon parted. And, you got to look out and take care of yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So, yeah, no, I don't know if Manny does. I haven't seen. Actually, I like Manny. I think Manny started from nothing and all, but he's a little too much on cars than real estate for me. Listen, I say all the time, I'll say, here, you want to see my 10 Ferraris? And it's like that building I just showed you. Okay, I like to feel good. I'm not so worried about looking good. I don't have a passion for cars like Manny does, and not even close. But thank God I love what I do. I like being right. I like buying right. I like the money. The money are the accolades. The money is the pats on the back that I'm looking for, because money doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. That tells you if you're right. So anyhow, once again, please go watch the free webinar. go get the free book. I have a free mini book. You can go to. I'll just show you real quick here. Go to FlipAnythingUSA, and down here at the bottom, see right here, you can get a free book sample. Actually, even better yet, go to hit the webinar up here. There's a webinar key. Fill this little form out right here, okay? And you'll be offered some discounts. So if you ever do feel like you're ripe for the mentorship, I'll send you some special videos that I don't share out on YouTube, and nice tips, stuff that will be important for you to know. But just fill this out. And I don't care about your phone number. The only reason I have to ask for your phone number there is because some people like to have it texted to them immediately, which we try to accommodate them very quickly if I can. Okay, Barry, yellow. I don't know what you guys are talking about here. Okay, well, Peter, real estate's not for you. Peter wrote, real estate is too much work, which I don't know what you're talking about. I love real estate. But the great thing about real estate is once you get it up and established, paid for or not, it'll take care of itself. Especially get to a point where you can afford managers and good regular help. It's nothing. It's an amazing return on investment. It doesn't even compare to a job, not even close. It'll make 10 times what your job makes while you're sleeping. Anyways, gamers, what else we got here? Parker, yep, I agree. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody, and be sure to go get in this webinar right here. Click on there, and nobody's going to beg you to or pester you to get into anything, but at least you have your eyes and you'll be aware of something that's out there. Anyways, thanks. Take care.